Hello! Today I'm going to be talking about all the books, movies, and TV shows that I watched in the month of March. Now, the majority of this will be books. However, I did watch three movies and three TV shows. We'll get into that. And there's also a couple albums that I want to discuss. But I'll just go into the books first of all. If you want to skip through and just watch the movies and TV shows section, then feel free. I'll have timestamps down below. But the first book that I read this month was The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I've had this book on my shelf for almost a decade at this point, and it's just been sitting unread. But I finally decided to start it because I had it on my priorities list for this year, and my friend Emma really likes this book. She recommended it. Hi, if you're watching. My favourite thing about this is the setting. The way that Scott Lynch writes the canals, the towers, the water, the boats, the night, landscape of Comore is just so evocative. Like, I can't think of a better word than just evocative. Like, I just felt the glistening stars, the towers, that it was so good. I also really like the crew that we get in this book. I did not expect to have a found family, aspect. I always hear people talk about the characters of Jean and Locke, who I really like. Jean's probably my favorite character in the book, but also the other people in the crew, like the twins and Bug. I think that's what his name is. Like, they were adorable. I love them so much, and I'm excited to see what he does with the characters as we move on, because we seem to be going to a new city in the next book, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does. Another pro is the humor. Like, he is so funny. I don't know how he does it, but not only just the lines, like the character will just say funny stuff, but also the situations. Like, Locke Lamora is an orphan and he joins this group of thieves and they, con these rich folk. And there's so many funny things that I don't even want to get into because I think it's best enjoying it for yourself. There's a lot of hijinks. I also really appreciate the bad eyesight representation that Scott Lynch seems to understand. I don't know if Scott Lynch wears glasses or not, but it was something that I really noticed is the use of optics in this world. It's just not prominent in a lot of fantasy books that I've read where characters wear glasses, but it's such a common thing in our world that when I seen it pop up, I was just like, I was telling Emma, like, this is so, like, I really appreciate this as someone with bad eyesight. And then, right after I said this to her, there's this scene that we get, there's a flashback, and it's between John and Locke, and John buys Locke glasses, and it was so heartwarming. Like, it was such a cute scene. This book is just so funny, so cute. But yeah, this is the first book I read. Then I read the fifth season by N.K. Jemisin. This is another book I've been wanting to read for a while. The book starts off in second person, which stays throughout the entire book. There's other POVs that aren't second person, but I would say the main one is, and it feels so natural. Like, I've heard a common, not criticism, but it's a common experience that people have with this book is that it takes them like about halfway through to get into it. I did not have that experience. I immediately connected with it. The three POVs I loved so much, and the way that they connect together is so genius. I There was something that happens towards the end of the book. I won't spoil what, obviously, but I felt so proud of myself because I seen it coming. Like, I predicted it and it happened, and I was like, wow, I feel like a genius, even though it was like, it's kind of obvious, but it was so well done. Also, I really like the way that she explores the theme of oppression. It's obviously, a common thing in a lot of books, but I've never read a book where an author just so elegantly gets to the base level of oppression, of hatred, of just that primal hatred that people have. And her writing is so beautiful but so straightforward and readable. It's so succinct and just word for word, like you can envision what she's saying. Great book. So I immediately picked up the second one, and this one, although I didn't love as much as book one, it was still a really fantastic sequel. In continuing with the theme of oppression, what this book does well is puts you in the mind of someone who is dealing with a parental figure who is has this deep hatred towards them because of something they can't change about themselves, and it shows you them grappling with that, and their parent just can't seem to understand that their child hasn't changed. There's nothing wrong with them. They're the exact same as they were before they found out some this new information about them, but because they have such a deep loathing for the origins in this world, they can't seem to wrap their head around it. And it's not like over the top, it's not melodramatic, it's really realistic the way that this, oh, I'm trying not to spoil, but the way that this father reacts to their child being a roga. The father isn't completely painted as a villain, although he is, but you see how he got to that point, and you see why he has a hatred for these people in the first place. I'm really intrigued to see what happens in the finale. I was immediately going to start the third one, but I made myself wait and take a little break. I'm going to hopefully read that one next month. Oh, also, before I forget to mention, I also love how N.K. Jemisin talks about climate change and kind of uses the whole post apocalyptic nature of this series as an analogy for climate change and everything with that. I really love it. Next up, I kind of switched lanes, went away from the fantasy and sci fi for a bit. I read James by Percival Everett. I'd heard a lot about this book actually, and a lot about Percival Everett. He wrote that book Erasure, which got turned into the movie American Fiction, I believe. And I want to read that as well after reading this because I really like this. This is a reimagining of Huckleberry Finn, but instead of following Huck, we follow his friend who is a slave. Now, I haven't read Huckleberry Finn, I haven't read the original novel, but I immediately just connected with the writing that Percival Everett had. It's satirical but poignant at the same time, and it's something that I haven't seen anyone else do. You're just following, like, I'm assuming the plot of Huckleberry Finn, where they're both Huck and James. Almost forgot his name. I was like, what's his name? James. Huck and James are kind of on the run. James has run away because he's about to be sold. His slave owner is about to sell him to someone else in New Orleans, I believe. And so he runs away, and Huck also runs away for another reason. It is to the point, it's clean cut, precise. It's such a quick read as well. Like, the chapters are really tiny. I did not expect the ending, or at least there's an aspect of the ending that I didn't expect to happen. I don't know if that's in the original. I haven't, like I said, I haven't read it, but something happened that just elevated the story to another level, and all these things that had been kind of said throughout the book and James's attitude towards certain things just made so much sense based on just one line, and I was just like, oh my god, like, this is genius. Percival Everett, I want to read everything he's put out. Like, I first heard about it from Carlos and Yolanda from StoryTube. I love their channel, by the way. I'm going to read Fatale by Ed Brubaker because of them. They made a full video about comic books. Like, I really recommend that video. It's really enjoyable video. They're a fan of Percival Everett, and they have a full video on like all the different books that he's written, and Wounded is the one that sounded the most interesting to me, so I'm going to read that next, and then hopefully I'll read Erasure as well. But yeah, really great book. Next up is the book that I DNF'd, except it's not a DNF, I just put it on hold, but I'm hopefully going to pick up again soon because I don't want to just lie there and just go unfinished because that's such a bad habit of mine. But the book is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Now, I have read a considerable amount of this. Like, it doesn't look like that much, but this book is 1,000 pages long, and I have read a quarter of it. I read 220 pages, and it is really good. It reads like a Charles Dickens novel, except with magicians, and it's so funny. I can't elaborate anything more on that. I've tried explaining it to people at work, and my coworker Bob actually bought the book after he seen me reading it and heard me talking about it. But I can't get too much more into it because, like I said, I've only read 200 pages. It is really funny and it has that dry humor that classics tend to have. Really funny, distinct characters. Mr. Norrell is so grumpy and so just he's such a mood. Like I love him, but I don't know. I really liked Piranesi by her, so I know I'll like this book, and I did like it. It's just really slow, and I just after reading James and just being on such a high, reading something like this slow, it wasn't for me for the moment. But I'll definitely go back to it. Then the last book that I read this month, I just finished yesterday, and that is Deadhouse Gates by Stephen Erikson, the second book in the what's the series called again? Malazan Book of the Fallen. I always forget it's not just Malazan, it's Malazan Book of the Fallen. This is my favorite book I've read this month, and maybe my favorite book of the year. Although Assassin's Fate is also up there, but I read the first half of this in January actually, and I loved it. I immediately, from the prologue, was entranced. And more than anything, I was just gobsmacked because it was such a different feel from the first book, Gardens of the Moon. I like Gardens of the Moon. Gardens of the Moon. Sorry, I have like a lisp. But I didn't love that book. I really liked what Stephen Erikson was trying to do, but I felt like the characters, I just didn't connect with them fully. I like some of the side characters like Amanda Rake, Crew, and Tattersail and Lorne and stuff. Like, I like some of the characters, but overall, I just didn't connect with all of them. Whereas this book, I immediately connected with all of the characters. Felicine, Hobart Light, Dukar, Mappo, Icarium. Even the stragglers from book one, because if you don't know, this is probably the most epic fantasy book I've ever read, fantasy series I've ever read. It's so vast in scope. Every little thing about this world that he's created is thought out because Stephen Erikson, this man right here, is an anthropologist, and it's so telling because every race, every country, every city is so steeped in history. I've never read something that just I could cry. I'm like about to cry just like because it's so interesting, it's so thought provoking. Everything is so detailed, but you don't feel bogged down. I felt kind of bogged down in book one a little bit, but in this one, everything felt so natural, everything flowed so well. I don't know how he did it, but all the different POVs, at first, like, I wasn't sure how they were going to connect because they were in such different places and such different environments that I just wasn't sure how he would connect it all. But by the end of the book, I was just so impressed by by everything that he does. Like, I think the issue that I kind of had with book one, and some people kind of trip up with book one, same way that I did, is that the way that he does the world building, he'll just throw stuff at you. So we'll just be going about, a normal scene, blah blah blah, and then he'll just be like, oh, and then this door that you see right there, this came from 5 millennia ago, and it was made by this one elder race, and they used this magic, and they went to this house, and they used to be friends with this other race who made this other house, and there are these 5 other animals who they had, and he just keeps going on and on and on, and whereas in the first book it kind of took me out of it, and I was just like, what is the point of this? In this one, because the characters, one of them was like an ex-priest, one of them was a historian, it just kind of conveniently worked out that way, because of course the historian would know everything about this world. Like, it didn't feel forced, whereas in the first book it did. In this one it felt natural, and the thematic content was so good. You could say it was navel gazing, you could say it was too on the nose, but I think I'm finding that I actually don't mind. I don't mind on the nose, self indulgent. People have to call like Arf Kwang and something like that Blood or Brighthaven book. Like, people say that like sometimes Brandon Sanderson people go like too on the nose with themes, but I'm finding, especially with N.K. Jemisin, another one, like it it doesn't matter if it's really obvious, as long as you are able to affect me emotionally with the characters, I'll buy into the themes. So with this, characters will randomly just start philosophizing. I can't say that word. Philosophizing about the world, and it works. It just works. I don't know what to tell you. It just works. So I'll read like a quote or two from this just to explain you what I mean. Awareness and revelations thicken the prairie air in a manner priests could only dream of for their temples. To fear the gods is to fear death. In place where men and women are dying, the gods no longer stand in the spaces in between. The soothing intercession is gone. They've stepped back through the gates, and watch from the other side. Watch and wait. Now that's actually quite a short quote of a character just in their head, like thinking out loud about the world. But there's so many different quotes like that, especially with the character of Felicin, who I adore. I'm a Felicin defender. She is so, like, all of her snarky, annoying, because she is annoying, but her annoying snarky comments are so funny to me. I love her, and her arc through this book. Oh, Felicine, I just love. I'm so excited to see what they do with her. And then Duker, oh, also Duker's also has a lot of like philosophy, and like the world is like sad, and what's the point of life, and I want to die, and it works. I related, or I felt at all. Also, the magic in this, just like, taking away all the themes, all the characters, the magic is just so cool. Like, this is just a cool fantasy book. I'm sorry, like, it is so fun. The Warrens, the different races. I love the names of everything. Tasty Andy, Corral Galen, Omtos, Vilak, Kachin, Shamal. I don't know if that's right, but Talanimatic. All of these names are so cool to me. Like, I've just, like, I can tell he's an anthropologist because he just comes up with cool names, and I can't wait to read Memories of Ice. Like, I've not been this pumped up to read a sequel in so long. Yeah, so that definitely got 5 out of 5 stars for sure. I loved it. I loved it so much. And I don't think I said that I read the second half this month. I think I said I started it in January. I read exactly halfway through. I read part one, part two before I went on holiday, and then There'd been about 2 month break in between, and I finished it off this month, and I loved it. So that was the last book I read, but I did actually start another one, although it is the end of the month, so this is going to carry over to next month. But the 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. I've only read 100 pages, which is, a good way into this book. It's pretty short. I read another book by her last year and loved it, so I finally, picked up another one. I don't have much to say about this. I'll talk more about it in next month. So that's all the books that I read. So let's move on to the movies. So the first one I watched was Mickey 17. This is by the same guy who made Parasite, and I really enjoyed this. I thought that Robert Pattinson was the best part about this film. He's so charming. Like, he just had that movie star quality about him, and it makes me so happy to see him get these roles. Like, because you just didn't. A lot of people discounted him after Twilight, but it's just so nice to see an actor just just go out there and just do their thing. He's so great. And Naomi Aki, also another great actress in this. I love her accent, by the way. Like, she has this British accent, and she's so cool. I love her. I love her and Robert Pattinson. They're like dynamic. So funny. It kind of falls apart towards the end, but I didn't mind because it was like, it was like a movie about like aliens and shit. Like, it was fun. It was fun. Then I watched Red Rocket. This is by Sean Baker. This is my third movie that I've watched from him. The first ones, the other ones that I've watched are Nora and Tangerine. I will say my favorite aspect about this film was just the way that it flowed. It flowed so nicely. I think I'm noticing the more that I watch from him, my favorite thing about him is his editing. He just is able to take the most random clips that you just wouldn't expect to like work, but he just does. He mixes it so well. That's why I was so happy he won the best editing Oscar for Nora, because he said that movie was like a mess at one point. Like, he didn't know what to do. Like, he was in the editing room like panicking, and he somehow managed to make it work because that movie again on Nora just flows so well. But you can see like the little breaks and gaps in between each scene, and if there was a less capable director, less capable movie maker, they wouldn't have been able to have done it. And same thing with Red Rocket. It feels like he takes all the scenes that other directors would cut from the film, all of like the lulls in the movie, and that's the ones that he projects onto the screen, and it's done so well. I will say I don't care for this movie as much as the other two that I mentioned. There was just something about it that mm, it just didn't work for me as well. Maybe when I rewatch, I would connect more. But yeah, I liked it. It made me want to rewatch The Sweet East, with that girl from Olivia Rodrigo's Deja Vu music video. That's the only other thing I've seen her in. So sorry that that's like the only reference I have for her. But I really liked that movie. It kind of reminded me of like Greg Araki a little bit. Like, I kind of felt like a modern Greg Araki, which I'm excited for his new movie. It has Charlie XCX and Olivia. What's her name? I really like her. She was in Babylon. What's her name? I'm really excited for that movie. I love Greg Araki, one of my favorite directors. But yeah, The Sweet East had the guy from Red Rocket in it, and I really liked that movie, and it just made me want to rewatch that. So I'll probably watch that soon. And the final movie I watched, I actually have the DVD of. It's Mulholland Drive by David Lynch. Now, before this, the only thing I'd seen by David Lynch was Blue Velvet and a couple of episodes of Twin Peaks. So I had kind of an idea of like what to expect, and obviously this is like one of the most popular movies of all time, so it's been talked about to death. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. Like, I think what I applaud David Lynch so much most for this film is having so many different elements and still having a coherent storyline. I mean, it's not coherent, like, especially in the second half, it goes off the rails on purpose. It's meant to be confusing. You don't really get what the point. You don't get what's happening, uh, but it still just works, and you still feel the emotions of it all. You feel so much for Naomi Watts' character. Like it was so, oh, it was so good, and I felt like I seen parts of myself in her. Like I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said for this film. Wasn't intending to look up reviews or anything after, or look up like the true meaning of Mulholland Drive, or like Mulholland Drive ending explained and all that. The older I get, the less I care about figuring out the true meaning behind art. David Lynch famously didn't, say much about what anything meant, but there is like a popular narrative that people have with this film, and even though it kind of destroyed the mystery aspect of it for me, like knowing what was going on all along, it's still like it doesn't lessen any of the greatness of the film. Definitely will be watching more from him. Watch the one with Patricia Arquette, which actually segue into the next thing. TV shows. Severance season 2 came out, or it ended this month, and I loved it. I've been watching this show since Katie from Chapter Stacks on BookTube mentioned it when season 1 had aired. And I remember she was like, "Guys, you have to watch this show. Like, no one is watching this. Please go watch this. Like, I don't want to get it cancelled." And it sounded so interesting, like the way she explained it with like the innies and outies. And this was like, was it 2022 it came out? I watched an episode every day. It was just, oh, I was so entranced by this show that like no one was watching. And then, over the years it's kind of gained more traction, and like I want Brett Lower to win an Emmy because she was so good. She was robbed season 1. I feel like everyone else except her was nominated. I think uh, Adam Scott nominated? I'm not sure, but I know the two old men, they were nominated. Love them though, but they were nominated. Patricia Arquette was nominated, but Brett Lower wasn't, and I was just like, she did so well as Helly, like all the stuff, like the. So this season kind of felt like vindication for me as a Helly truther, because she really got to show off everything. Love that. Love Milchick. Love Cobell. I really liked her episode again. I feel like we're in an age of where people just can't take art for what it is. Like they, and I do this as well sometimes. Like when you have expectations for something, you kind of judge something based off of your expectations when that isn't right. Like take the movie or show or book for what it is, not what you want it to be. And that's what I feel like people were kind of doing with some things this season, when I was just like gobsmacked because I was like, this is so great. And the stuff I didn't like, Dylan, his arc with his wife, I really like Dylan, and I was happy he got more to do this season because he kind of was just in the background the first season. But it was tired. I'm not gonna lie. Like the whole stuff with the wife, and I appreciated what they were doing, but I just didn't connect with it the way that I think they wanted me to. And same with Irving. I liked him and Bart, and especially in season 1, I loved them, but mm, it was a send off. Whatever. It was a nice send off, and him in episode 4 was amazing, but I just didn't connect with that fully. A couple other like just tidbits that weren't good, but like for the most part, amazing season. So excited to see what they do next season. I feel like it might be the final. They're going by so quickly, which I appreciate. They're not wasting any time, which is really rare. It reminds me of The Good Place, another show I really liked, where they were not afraid to change the whole direction of the show with just one episode. I had to commend them because people don't often take risks like that. Yellowjackets season 3. No, Yellowjackets girls, come to the front. This season, I've only watched 3 episodes, and there's 8 episodes out so far. I think it's not good. we have to be honest. It's just I was one of the few people who was like defending season two. I was like, it's good. Like just maybe it just has to grow on you guys. Like it's good, but and I still stick by that. By the way, I haven't rewatched season two, but I still stand by it. Season two was good. It wasn't bad, but this season's just stale. It's just not giving. It just feels like they're in a rut, uh, especially with because one of the main cast members left last season, and it feels like we messed up the storyline for that. You know, two storylines running at the same time. One set in present day, one set like 20 years in the past, and a character from the adult storyline left last season, and it feels like they had a lot more planned for her, so now they have to make up other stuff for her for the adults to do, and it kind of jumbled it all up. And then in the past storyline, you would think, we have so much to make up, we have so many years in between that we could do stuff with, but it feels like they're just walking about, not actually doing anything interesting, and it just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It's just kind of nothingness. I don't know. I did like the ending of episode three. I think that's the one I watched. Was it three or four? They had a returning cast member, which I was spoiled on, of course, because she couldn't help but post on Instagram. But no, uh, I love the scene with her. I love when Yellowjackets goes into like the psychosis, the dream sequences, the unclear like stylized nature of the show. Like I love when it just goes weird and off the walls. And Akila had like a scene in one of them, and I really like her, and I hope she keeps getting more screen time. Uh, so I was almost debating DNFing this show until I was getting to that point, but because I really do appreciate the show and what it's doing, and at a time when it seems like everything is regressing, right now we're kind of noticing this like far right movement coming about, and a lot of like hatred and fear and just turmoil is coming back. And so to see shows like Yellowjackets that are just openly themselves, openly queer, it's just so nice to have. And so even though this season isn't the best, I still want to champion it and champion what it's doing and having these characters that are underrepresented. And also just to have like just the dynamic of the cast. Like I want it to be good. I really want it to be good, and so I will be continuing. I will. I hope it gets better. Sorry about that. I feel like that was just a weird random tangent. The last thing, Drag Race. Season 17 is airing right now, and it's an okay season. Uh, I felt like the past couple of seasons have been getting better. Season 15 and 16 were really good. This season's kind of alright. It's not bad, but I love the cast. I really like the cast, and this recent makeover episode was amazing. The makeover episodes of Drag Race are always the best to me. They were so heartwarming. Like I was like tearing up. I was watching it this morning actually. It was so good. And I'm definitely team Anya. I want her to win so bad. But I'll be happy with anyone honestly winning. That always happens. Like in the end, I'm always like, I'll be happy with anyone winning. But Team Anya for sure. Like she's really killed it this entire season. Besides that, there's not much else. I've been watching Mad Men, but I don't think I actually watched a single episode this month, so can't talk about that. But I'm in the middle of season one. Really great show. Finally, I want to get into some music. Uh, this will be probably the quickest segment, although I do listen to music every single day, so arguably this is like the most, along with the books, this is the media that takes up most of my time in the month. Uh, so two albums came out this month that I really like. First one is Mayhem by Lady Gaga. Fun pop album. It's not anything major in my opinion. It is like just nostalgia, in a way. It really is, but it's good nostalgia bait. It's good fan service. She did what she had to do. The fans like it. I mean, I think some people hate it. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's fine. It's a fine album. I love some songs. I really don't care for some others. My favorite song is Shadow of a Man. I love Shadow of a Man so much. It reminds me of just art pop. Like, oh, it's so good. And I love the Beast. It's such a good, just like grimy, just primal ballad. Like, oh, I love when she goes like and snarls and yells in that way. But it's controlled. It's not too much. It's you feel it. And I feel like that one's an underrated one. People don't seem to care for the Beast as much. But also, Garden of Eden is a really great song. My friend Orla loves that song, but I will fight you, Orla, because Shadow of a Man is the best song on the album. I want to see her on tour, but she's not coming to Glasgow. So she's coming to Manchester, and I almost wanted to go, but I don't think I'll travel that far for it. But who knows? An album that I do really love is what is it actually called? It's a long title. For Melancholy, Brunettes, and Sad Women by Japanese Breakfast. This is my first album from this band, this singer. I randomly stumbled on it the night it came out. Actually, I was listening to music. I was getting ready for bed. It was after midnight, and it popped up. I can't remember how. I think I may have. I think I looked up Japanese Breakfast because I've been meaning to listen to their music for a while, and it was like the new album by Japanese Breakfast, and it was that date that it come out, and I was so like that just never happened to me before, and I was just so pleased. Like it's such a pleasant album for such a melancholy, sad album. It's so pleasing. It feels like just a hug. It feels like just like elevator music. It's just nice, calming. My favorite song is Honey Water. Also love Mega Circuit, but Honey Water like almost goes into like a shoegazy territory towards the end. It's really good, and I want to see them on tour because they are doing like a full production. She's doing like a play almost of all the songs, and it looks so cool. I've never seen anyone do that, and I've been wanting to watch more like theater stuff. The other album that I really like and want to talk about is Ray of Light by Madonna. Now, this came out in 1998, so this is not a new album, but I rediscovered this album this month. I tried listening to it last year on the recommendation of my friend Cade. I was telling him to listen to Mariah Carey, and he told me to listen to this Madonna album, and I really didn't care for it. I liked two of the songs. I liked the first song, Substitute for Love, and the song Swim, but was everything else just was stale. Like it didn't. I could see what she was going for, but it just went over my head. Nothing was connecting. The mantra, like like Om Shanti Om. Like I was like, are you serious? Like, are we really doing Om Shanti Om? But yeah, but I felt like there was something there because Substitute for Love, I really liked that one, uh, but I didn't connect with the rest. But I still had it in my library, and so I randomly got the urge to listen to it this month, and I love it now. It just everything clicks, and I love when that happens. It happens a lot with film with me where I'll watch something once and I just nothing will connect. Like I saw the TV Glow, the film I saw the TV Glow. I watched it at home and I didn't care for it at all. And then I watched it in cinema because my friend Orla she really liked it and she wanted to rewatch it. I tagged along and I just had such a completely different experience. Everything that I was so confused by, everything that I was just so like, what even are they doing this? Like, what is this random monologue? It affected me so much, and I was actually in tears by the end, and I didn't expect it. It just came out of nowhere, and that's like I feel like a similar experience to have. Although I'm not like crying over Ray of Light by Madonna. It's just a really fun album. I love Frozen. I love Sky Fits Heaven. Oh, the whole album, everything is so good. And that's about it. Although there are two more things I want to talk about. The Giver by Chappell Roan. I'm so glad she finally released it because I was sick of going to SoundCloud just to listen to the SNL recording of this song. So I'm glad she finally released it. Great song. Relationships by Haim. Another great song. I love the music video. It has the guy from Queer in it. Queer by, what's his name? Luke Agwad, you know. Great movie and great music video. Listen to this song all the time. Really fun. Excited to see what this new album is like. If they are releasing an album, I'm assuming. And yeah, that's about it. That's the music that I've been listening to this month. That concludes all of the media that I consumed this month. So let me actually. So here's the stack of all of the books that I read this month. Except this one I just started. Yeah, I feel like it's been a really, really great month. Especially because February I was on holiday and I didn't finish a single book. I read like a couple stories from the Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu, but I didn't get through any novels, and so I feel like this is a really commendable stack. April is only going to get better, I think, because I'm going to read Memories of Ice, and I'm going to finish Broken Earth. I'm going to read the third book. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm also going to hopefully read Tigana by Guy Gavriel. If you've seen my first video, it was a review of his book Lions of Al-Rosan. That book wrecked me, so I'm excited to see what this has in store. This is kind of like his most popular one, and I love this cover, by the way. I literally scoured eBay for like months on end without buying the book. I waited until this like edition came in stock, or came in the UK, because a lot of US sellers were selling it, and it was so expensive with shipping. But I knew one day someone in the UK would sell it, and it would be like, £2 shipping or whatever. And I found it, lo and behold, and I'm so happy. So yeah, I'm going to read this next month as well. So yeah, that concludes this video.
We are not being mean. We are being
in all honesty, there's nothing forgivable about this picture. All of it looks awful. The bra proportion is wrong. She's wearing boy jeans. She doesn't have stockings on. Her face